Good morning, freedivers and spearfishers. So today I want to address a question that I got a while back, and then I got this question again recently. So a few months ago, an old friend of mine that used to do some spearfishing and then he stopped for a couple of years, he gave me a call out of the blue and said, he wants to know what is the correct formula for him to weight himself when he goes spearfishing. So the sort of answer that he was looking for was, for example, you take your height and your weight and the thickness of your wetsuit and you work out some sort of formula, and that gives you the amount of kilograms in weight that you should be packing when you're going freediving or spearfishing. So the thing I said to him is that two guys can be of equal height, they can have the same wetsuit, and they can be of equal weight, their body weight, and they will have to weight themselves differently. And the reason for that is because buoyancy is influenced by a lot of factors. What is your muscle density? What is your body fat percentage? What is your bone density? How much water do you have at that moment in your system? So there is never a formula for you to weight yourself correctly. That's why you'll never find anywhere that somebody has worked out such a formula. So when it comes, this is, by the way, normally a question that I get more often from spearfishers. Okay, so here's the thing, this is what I do. When I'm going spearfishing, or let's say somebody invites me to go spearfishing with them, the first question I ask them is, how deep is the spot where we're going spearfishing? If they say 10 meters, I pack enough weight so that I can be neutrally buoyant at 10 meters, so that I can lie at the bottom and wait for the fish at 10 meters. If they say 5 meters, obviously I'm going to need to pack on a bit more weight so that I can lie at the bottom at 5 meters of depth. So if you go freediving often or you go spearfishing often, then you will know more or less by now what weight to use, to be neutrally buoyant at 5 meters, to be neutrally buoyant at 10 meters, and so on. But that's essentially what you need to do when you're going spearfishing, is pack enough weight so that you don't have to hold on to the kelp or hold on to something when you want to lie at the bottom. And the other thing that you need to keep in mind is that a lot of people are always saying, don't overweight yourself, don't overweight yourself. And yes, it's true, it's dangerous. I've made a previous video called The 7 Deadly Sins of Freediving, where I talk about the consequences or potential consequences of overweighting yourself. So yes, it's dangerous, but you don't ever hear people talking about underweighting yourself. It's like, if you've got a strong enough duck dive, then you can, then all of a sudden that cancels out being underweighted. When you're doing freediving on a line, underweighting yourself might not be such a big issue, because with a good and strong duck dive, by the time you get past 15 meters or so, even if you don't have weights on, you're going to start becoming neutrally buoyant, and eventually you're going to become negatively buoyant. But I believe that underweighting yourself does propose a danger, and the danger that it proposes is you constantly exerting yourself and using up all your oxygen and effort to keep yourself down or to get down. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you take enough weights with you, and you assess how deep do you want to spearfish. If you want to spearfish at 10 meters, make sure that you are neutrally buoyant at 10 meters. And if you want to spearfish at 5 meters, make sure you are neutrally buoyant at 5 meters. But if you're changing spots, if you've lied down and you didn't find any fish at a 5 meter spot, now you move over to a 10 meter spot, you got to be careful to take off some weights. That's why you always got to have like a a buoy with you where you can put some weights, or if you're going out spearfishing on the boat, take off a weight and put it on the boat, because you don't want to overweight yourself so that you struggle to come back up. So the answer at the end of the day is, it doesn't matter whether you're wearing a 5mm wetsuit or a 3mm wetsuit, what your height is, what your weight is. You can't work out. There's no formula to tell you. The best thing to do is to always weight yourself when you get into the water, and weight yourself according to the depth where you want to spearfish. And if you're freediving on a line, it's a little bit of a different story. If you can underweight yourself a little bit on the line, it's probably not going to be such a big issue. I've spoken to some people that have told me in the past, if they underweight themselves a little bit and they become neutrally buoyant at 11 or 12 meters instead of around 9 or 10 meters, they feel more confident when they're swimming back up. That's not such a big issue. But the thing with spearfishing is, you have to be able to get down to the bottom where you want to lie down with your spear gun, and you want to be relaxed, because that's how you're going to be able to hold your breath the longest. If you can swim down, get to the bottom, lie down. Now if you underweight it and you swim down and you lie down at the bottom waiting for fish, you're going to go back up, or you're going to have to exert energy to hold on to something, or if there's nothing to hold on to, you're going to keep kicking and keep kicking to keep yourself down, and that's going to exert energy. So yeah, that's the answer. I'm sorry if that disappoints a lot of people, that there's not a formula to work out your weight. Best is always to weight yourself according to the depth that you're diving or the depth that you're spearfishing at. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Be safe, never dive alone. Cheers.